In this video, I'm going to show you how to completely transform yourself from beginning to end, exactly what you need to do in order to become the person that you want to be. I've had amazing personal transformations. You can see my previous videos, you can see my previous pictures where my life was totally different. I was lazy, I was unmotivated, I didn't have a lot of money, and I transformed to the person that I am now, running multiple businesses, multi-millionaire, able to run marathons, and do all kinds of stuff that I never thought was possible. So maybe that's you. Maybe right now you're sitting here and you're thinking, man, I would love to transform. I'd love to become the person that I know that I'm capable of, but maybe, you have in your mind this block. You try and change, you try and do things, you have an idea of what you want to become, but when you try to do it, you just end up failing. You don't end up making it all the way. So that's what I'm going to talk about in this video. I'm going to show you exactly what you need to know in order to transform yourself. I'm John from BulldogMindset.com. On this channel, I teach you how to be a man. I teach you how to build financial independence, how to get the physique you want, how to get the girls that you want, and how to go from the victim mindset to what I call the Bulldog mindset. If that sounds like something that you are all about, make sure you click that subscribe button. And I got to tell you guys, hit the bell, the notification bell here. Oh, let me just choke to death here. I always had an idea in my head of who I wanted to be, but every time that I would try and execute on that, I would find that I would fail. And no matter what happens, I would automatically fail eventually because I didn't know how to do it. I didn't know how to transform myself. It first starts off with having the picture in your mind of who you want to be. This is one of the most critical components of this, is because if you don't know who you want to be, and you don't have that defined very well, you're not going to be able to change and transform into that person. I don't mean to have a vision of someone else in your head, someone other than yourself. What I mean is to have a vision of yourself, but the best version, the ultimate form, your super saiyan form of yourself. I remember doing this exercise. I just thought about, I was sitting there maybe daydreaming one day, and I was thinking about, okay, this is what I'd like to look like, all right? And, I could see myself being cut and having muscles, and this is what I'd like to sound like, and this is what how I'd like to present myself, and how I'd like people to view me, and how I'd like to speak, and the way I'd like to act. And I just had this vision of myself, in my head of who I wanted to become. I focused on that vision because I wanted to see that person, for that to become real. And then that's really the key thing, is like, you've got to start out with this. And I want you to not just do this once, but I want you to do this multiple times, okay? I want you to do this every day. Maybe make a routine, set an alarm, or set a schedule on your calendar that you're going to spend 15 minutes visualizing, okay? Because the more clear that vision is, the easier it's going to be for you to become that person, because you know what that person is. We cannot become those things without having a deeper understanding, without seeing that. But when we see it, we can now play the part. So that's the second thing, is that you've got to do, is you've got to act as if. When I had a clear vision of myself, of who I wanted to be, I started pretending like I was already that person. I started pretending as if I was an actor playing the part of that person, and it didn't matter anymore. A lot of times when you want to transform, you want to change yourself, you feel fake in doing it, and you feel like other people are observing how fake you are, and it feels forced. The doubt that you feel makes you feel that way, and also the way that people perceive you. But if I hired you to play a role, if you were an actor, and I hired you to play a role, you wouldn't think you were faking anything at all, okay? You were doing what you're supposed to do. It's the context of it. So it's the same thing in your life. What I want you to do is I want you to just pretend like you're that person, okay? I want you to adopt that persona, knowing full well that you are not that person. It's okay for you not to be that person, but there's no reason. If you have a really good idea in your mind, a really good vision of who this person is and how they should act and how they should talk and walk and dress, you can start playing that role, and you can start pretending to be that person. What eventually happens is you become that person. Maybe you're afraid that you're going to lose yourself, or you lose your authenticity, or that you're going to be fake, but that's not true. Because there's a reason why right now you're not happy with who you are and you want to transform. It's not because you do not like yourself, okay? It's because you don't like the way that you have lived your life up to this point. If you didn't give a fuck what anyone else thought, you would already be that person that you want to be. You'd already be your true self. You'd already be acting as if you were that person. The problem is that you've got all of these pressures. You feel like you're supposed to be the person that you are right now. You feel afraid of acting out. You feel afraid of what other people are going to think or how they're going to judge you. You feel like you need to play the role that you're playing right now, and you're self-conscious. If you start acting like the person that you want to become, do you not think that you will start to become that person? Of course you will. Of course you will. Everything will change. You have to change your nature in order to change your behavior. I've talked about this a lot of times. Now, another thing that you need to do along with this, okay, is to change your environment. Because if your environment doesn't change, you're not going to change. You're always a product of your environment. What makes a pickle a pickle? Well, it's a cucumber that's sitting in pickle brine, thus it becomes a pickle. Same with you. You are whatever you brine in. So you have to look at your environment and say, what is the environment that I'm currently in? Because that is going to determine what you become. If you're in a bad environment, if you're getting negative reinforcements, if people are telling you about your old self and reinforcing that in your view of your old self, you're going to stay your old self. Okay? You have to start changing your environment in order to change yourself. Now, what does it look like to change your environment? Well, it might look like moving across the country. It might look like moving to a different country. Okay? It might look like cutting off all of your friends, your quote friends, who are holding you down because they're keeping that same image of you. It might mean distancing yourself from family. These aren't easy things to do, but it's not easy to transform. Do you want to be an eagle or do you want to be a turkey? That doesn't mean completely cutting people out of your life and being mean and being an asshole to people, but it means being very careful to make sure that the people that are closest to you, that you have the most contact with in life, are the people that are going to be a positive influence on you. Next, work on one thing at a time. A lot of times when people try to transform themselves, they try and change so many things at once. And it's okay, you're acting the part, you're acting as if, that's fine, right? You should still do that, but you should pick one specific thing out. A good one is to do the weight loss transformation for a lot of you that are overweight. So you just focus on losing weight. And then once you pick the one thing out, it'll start to become a habit, whatever you're doing. And then you can start on moving on to the next thing. The next thing I want to talk about is to change all of your inputs. If you want to change your outputs, you have to change your inputs. What are your current inputs? Anything that comes into your brain, anything you're watching, absorbing, anything that you're paying your attention to are inputs. This could be people. It could be conversations that you have with people. Okay, it's related to environment, like I said. But it can be television. Are you watching television shows? Okay, cut that shit out. Just cut it out completely. Even movies, for the most part, you should cut that out because it's programming you. If you input negative shit, you're going to get negative shit out. Cut off all the inputs that you don't specifically engineer in your life. That's why television is so bad. It's not that television itself is so bad. It's that it's not intentional. It's programming that you do not control. Along with that, one of the best ways to change your inputs is to start reading. Okay, read. I've got an Audible link here. I read audiobooks, okay? Listen to audiobooks, about 2 to 3 books a week on average, okay? It depends on what phase I'm going through, but when I'm running, I'm listening to audiobooks at 3x speed, 3.5x speed, and I'm getting a lot of information. You should be reading at least 20 books a year, all right? Probably more than that, but if at least 20 books a year, if you can read 20 books a year, at least 2 books a month. If you just did that, okay, if you ignore everything else in this video, and you just read 2 books a month, you will transform. And then we're going to wrap this up here, but I want to give you 2 other points here. One of them is to do things that scare you. And I know for sure one of the best ways I transformed myself was doing a bunch of shit that scared me. I kept on doing it, putting myself out there, forcing myself, and then I became the person, a totally different person, because the kind of person that does the shit repeatedly that used to scare them, right? That's a different person than the person who was afraid of this. And then the final one I have for you is to purposely be uncomfortable. A lot of times I'll get this, right? Someone will tell me, they'll say, hey, John, so, I try to do what you're saying, like, in relation to dating advice. Like, I try to go up to a girl and try to talk to her, but as soon as I just get into the environment, I just feel uncomfortable. I feel like I'm out of place, like people are staring at me, like I don't know what to do. And my answer is good. My answer is great. This is exactly what we want. I want you to just sit in the uncomfortableness and just be present with it and allow it to be what it is. I don't want you to fight it. I don't want you to feel like it's bad or it's wrong or you're trying to get rid of it. I want you to put yourself into uncomfortable situations and to just fucking be there and be present being there. You need to go out there in a social situation and you need to put yourself in an uncomfortable situation. Just be okay with it. Just be okay knowing that that's how it's supposed to happen. It's supposed to be uncomfortable. The more that you can put yourself into uncomfortable situations and just sit there and stew in it, right? Something is happening, okay? It's not just that you're uncomfortable, it's that things are changing. And the longer that you can kind of roast in that fire, the more you're going to get cooked. You have to experience that in order to change. No change is going to happen by comfort. It's always going to be outside of your comfort zone. So what I want you to do is to primarily put yourself outside that comfort zone and do the things that make you uncomfortable, but not just do them. Accept it. Allow yourself to be uncomfortable. Allow yourself to be there in that present moment and to sit with it. And it's totally okay. That's what I use to transform myself. That's what I use to transform my coaching clients when I want to help them to transform. And it will work for you, but you have to be willing to do the work. It's not going to happen automatically. It's not going to happen magically. You're going to have to actually do this stuff. I will talk to you next time. Take care.